We don't know if this cake started in the Waldorf Astoria or if it was created down here in the deep, deep South. Wherever you believe, the red velvet cake is sure to please. Alright, YouTube, we're going to start off here with a stick of butter, which is a half a cup. It's a softened stick of butter. We're going to dump this right into our mixer. I know I've had some viewers make some small complaints about the angle of the camera and everything, and I deeply apologize. I usually shoot in the television studio, and I don't have to worry about the camera, so please bear with me. We're just going to cream this for a couple of seconds. Alright, and now to this, we're going to add a cup and a half of sugar. Alright, so we have a cup and a half of sugar going in. That's our cup. And that's a half right there. And we're just going to blend this together. This is called creaming the butter and the sugar. You want to do this for a couple of minutes for several reasons. One, it will incorporate the butter and the sugar together. And it'll also make the first part of your cake very light and fluffy. You want to do everything that we do is done for a reason. So let's go ahead and cream this butter and sugar for a couple seconds. Alright, so our butter and sugar has been creamed together. And what we're going to do now is add 2 large eggs. As you can see, I'm adding them one at a time and mixing it thoroughly. I'm going to add the second one. And as you can see, or make sure it's just creaming away. Awesome. Looks great. We're going to show you this consistency here. You can see that. It's very light and fluffy. That's the butter, the sugar, and the egg. So far, for those of you who are following along, we have a half a cup of softened butter, which is 1 stick, 1.5 cup of sugar, fine granulated sugar, and 2 eggs. Now we're going to add some vanilla. And yes, I have quite a large thing of vanilla. If you check out the website, www.mysunnydaysbakery.com, you'll see the number of cakes that I make per week. So I always have quite a bit of vanilla on hand. In here, you just want to add, about a teaspoon of vanilla. We're going to slowly incorporate that as well. So I think you can get the idea. We add something, we incorporate it, add something, incorporate it. That way everything is getting mixed. Awesome. Now, a lot of people think a red velvet cake is a chocolate cake. It is not. It does have a little cocoa powder in there, but it has its own distinct taste. What we're going to add next is, in here, we have 2.5 cups of cake flour, a teaspoon of baking powder, a teaspoon of salt, and 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder. And what I've done is just simply sifted. Yeah, I know I have old school sifter, but I love it. And now for those of you who are wondering why I said cake flour, the gluten level is different than all-purpose flour or bread flour. So we use cake flour to give it the nice light texture. What we're going to do here is slowly add in a little bit. We're going to add about 1/3 of our flour mixture into the egg, butter, sugar mixture. And red velvet cake is a staple in the South as far as dessert. And it's such a great cake. If you've never ever made one, you should definitely try it. It won't disappoint. Alright. We're going to go ahead and add the rest of our dry mix. And we're going to mix it together. See if we can get an angle. Sorry for those people who ate my camera shots. I'm sorry. me see if I can get you a little bit of a. Alright. Now, what we're going to add, you see that? But just wait. I know you're like, oh my goodness, look how thick that is. Let's move it closer to the camera for you. The Domestic Diva is in effect. I'm trying, people. Alright, it's really thick. Now, a lot of people say, what's the point of the red food coloring? Because no, it does not taste any different without it. But it's the whole point of having that bright electric red cake. So, normally you would add 2 ounces of red food coloring. Once again, because I am a baker and I have a lot of different cake decorating things, I actually have food coloring paste here. So I'm adding some of this. Now, you don't want to skimp on the food color. I understand some people try to complain. I don't want to give people red dye. But let me tell you something. This red food coloring really makes this cake. It's something about slicing into that all white cream cheese frosting, which we're going to talk about momentarily, and then seeing this bright red surprise inside. There's nothing like it. And that's why it's called a red velvet cake. So if you absolutely have to do without the red food coloring, you'll still get the same. Now, the very last thing that we have to do after incorporating the food coloring in with the cake is to add our volcanic reaction, as the diva likes to call it. If you think back to your science experiment, you mix the vinegar and the baking soda, you get a volcanic eruption. This cake will erupt and explode in your mouth. So you want to take a teaspoon of baking soda and put it in a little container here, just like this, and then add a teaspoon of vinegar. Just a minute ago, I decided that I really wanted to make a red velvet cake. I didn't have any vinegar, so I'm actually substituting some lemon juice. But you do want to use the vinegar. You pour it in there, and all of a sudden, immediately, look at this. It begins to foam. And that's exactly what you want. You're going to take that entire foaming mixture and put it into your cake. That's the very last thing that we do. So this entire foaming mixture, layers here. Alright, and we're going to pop them into a 350 degree oven for 20 to 25 minutes. Toothpick in the middle comes out clean, it's done. When we come back, we'll go ahead and tackle our cream cheese frosting and decorate our cake. This is Domestic Diva. See you in a minute.